welcome back to Fault Milestone 1. We're here to talk about the Zevite siblings, Rune and her nice brother, Rune, the evil little bitch. Okay, we're gonna just go. A few years passed as Sid spoke with the priest. The number of Hevite's victims continued to multiply drastically. Then one day, someone from within the church came across evidence exposing the collusion between the government and the Hevites and the Board of Science. That was the clincher. A fissure formed in the long-standing relationship between the church and the government, leading to an agreement between the Zevites and the church. The energy industry versus the government versus the church. The level of discord among these three parties was truly unprecedented. In the midst of all that, Rudo had immersed in his studies daily, both in academy and at home, in preparation for becoming Zevite Enterprise's next president. Just like his father, he also had a strong interest in Amino. He didn't have any difficulty studying. Rudo simply loved to learn. I remember him often telling Aline that he was bored by the lessons at the academy. However, Rudo, intelligent as he was, had one big concern: his little sister Rune. At the time, Rune had behavioral issues. She had always had a frown on her face, and the only time she ever smiled was when people got hurt. Everything she did had some trace of malice to it. Whatever her actions were, they were always to cause people problems. One day, Rue finally did something that put the nail in the coffin. Rune stabbed the Grumwell's son's eye with a stick that caused him to lose it. The old incident with the crocodiles, what a mess. No kidding. I wonder what caused Rune to do that. Was she not satisfied with something? I don't know. Aline, she's heartbroken. On the outside, she puts on a smile and says she's fine. No, she's starving herself. Her body is just... That's terrible. I feel sorry for Rudo as well. I hope he isn't getting shamed or mistreated in school. This might be a good opportunity for him. Maybe it's about time. Age-wise, too. Sounds about right. He lost his own thoughts, huh? The Grunko said Rudo had stopped attending school. The reason was never said out loud, but it was obvious. Rudo was just around 10 years old when he began to work as a trainee in the Zevites. He studied daily in Lab 9, said to be the very best industry for producing top researchers, and started becoming more and more introverted. Now that I think about it, it must have been tough for him. As a child, Rudo was somewhat lacking in imagination. To be blunt, he wasn't fit to be a researcher. Both I and the other members of the lab thought so. Rudo truly had a talent for learning. However, he had difficulties coming up with anything new that was outside of what he was taught to him. They were expecting him to have eccentric imaginations just as Sid did when he was young, but unfortunately it was all for naught. On the other hand, he was very careful not to offend people with his words or actions. He was very considerate of others. Rudo was skilled in reading other people's emotions. As time passed, everyone around him slowly came to see him as someone who could succeed Sid. A few years later, Rudo began working in Lab 9. Rune's house arrest and the subsequent of the Grunwell's interest was lifted. Rune was often brought by her home tutor to visit the lab. As time passed, it became clear that Rudo was said to be a prodigy in his aptitude of learning. Rune greatly exceeded his capabilities. In 9 months, Rune started taking trips into Lab 9. She was able to answer the unsolvable battery problems that had been plaguing the sisters' machines for years. Everyone was speechless. It was then that I saw a glimpse of Sid's inventiveness and creativity. No, she trivially solved a problem that Sid himself couldn't. Probably everyone in the lab thought she could surpass Sid as a researcher someday. Rudo began to slowly lose confidence in himself. Even after things calmed down from the Groclow's incident, he began to get along with Rune. Rudo was lost and didn't know what to do. It was written all over his face. Eventually, Rudo only did administrative work in the lab. It seemed to have dawned on him that he couldn't compete with Rune, and even then, Rune joined in the administrative work just as an assistant and took his job away from him. Sometimes it looked as Rune was deliberately driving Rudo up the wall psychologically. There was just a slight air of hostility to it. No hostility isn't right. There doesn't seem to be any motive to it. From an outsider's perspective, it was a little sister helping out her older brother, nothing more. Whether it was intentional or not, normal purple people wouldn't have noticed. One day, Sid and Aline came to me for advice. Look, I'm not sending her off to school, but I don't see a point. I've heard you already, Sid. I want to hear what Albus has to say about the matter. Hey, Albus, what do you think? Could I have your honest opinion? Should Rune go to school, or... I don't see any problem with that. It took whole years to pass since the incident with the Gronkwells, boy. There's no point. She's been sitting in Lab 9 all this time. What do you expect her to pick up from at school? I think it's a waste of time. I'm not referring to her studies. We need to reintroduce her to society. She doesn't even have anyone her age she can call a friend. We need to at least try to let her live a normal life. And who exactly determines what normal and what isn't? I agree with Albus. Rather than holding her up in a dimly lit laboratory, I'd rather she live and behave more like a young lady that she is. Pretty surprising either from Elaine, considering how insistent you were about her education. Of course, she still has to maintain her studies. However, I think we're pursuing Rune far too hard into that direction. She may look perfectly comfortable how she is now. I think she needs to interact with other children her age as well. You really don't share that opinion, Sid? If you're asking me for my personal opinion, I don't think people's skills are all that cracked up to be. If she keeps at the work, then she's gonna end up picking them up, whether she likes it or not. I swear, why is this man just so... Sid, you should really think about your abilities a little more. Your standards are way far removed from what is considered normal. All that aside, my final decision is to let Rune choose what she wants to do. I don't want to rob her of the ability to choose. She's got the right to. I knew it. Do you agree with him then, Albus? I do. At Rune's age, it should be both of you making the final decision, but certainly I agree with respecting her opinion as well. I have to undergo a physical examination. I'll let the hospital know too. Thank you, Albus, really. Hope Rue appreciates the sentiment. A few weeks after that, just before Rue was to be enrolled in the academy, she had a visual examination done in the lab. Using the MRI device that Sid developed, I examined Rune's brain. What the? Is the machine malfunctioning? No, that's impossible. I conducted maintenance on it yesterday. It was calibrated just right. It can't be a problem with the machine. Alvarez, these are scans, right? Is this even possible? Since she can't feel any emotion. That's absurd. A human like this couldn't exist. Don't tell anyone about this unless she's in full power. Aline's in an especially sensitive time right now. When the timing is right, I'll tell Sid in advance. The portion of Rune's brain which controlled human emotion was non-functional. Whatever that meant, none of the members of the lab knew, or I knew at the time. While concealing Rune's name, we asked the other staff of Medica, but not a single person even knew of the condition. But it was obvious that something was wrong. The MRI itself was still new young technology. However, the very first person to respond to this was Rudo. Rudo clearly knew something that we didn't. A few months after Rune was admitted into the academy, he revealed it to us. What's this book? Lie spotting. It's a book about the psychological nature of lies and how to detect them. Oh, Albus! Good evening, Rudo. I have to talk with you. What's the matter? Rudo's story came out of nowhere. Rune is killing small animals at the park nearby. Honestly, it sounds so absurd I couldn't believe what he told us. Ever since the Grockwell's incident, Rune had grown up to be a good girl. In my heart, I harbored a small doubt. What if Rudo was using the brain scan as pretense so he could get revenge on Rune? He had more than enough reason to motivate to do so. Against the gentle Rune, Rudo must have felt desperate given her positions. I don't expect you to believe it, though. How do I even react? If you told Sid or Eileen... No, well, not directly. I kind of played it off saying Rune might be up to something bad again. If I didn't, I'm sure Mom would get hurt again. I see. Yes, the only other person I could talk to about this is you, Albus. Sorry, Rudo, the only thing you can do for now is keep an eye on the situation. If I can do anything to help, I'd be more than happy to. But right now, even if everything you told me is true, there's still not enough justification to take action right now. If brought up the topic saying I've heard everythsen from you, and they decide to ignore it, then that'll be the end of it. You're right. By the way, what is that book for? Is this for taking measures against Rune? Yes. Rudo, do you think Rune is a chronic liar? I'm not sure. But Rune displays far too many tendencies that are described in that book. Such as, for example, people who lie habitually are very capricious by nature. They hate just staying in a single place. Once they get bored with things, they head elsewhere. You mentioned it. She did say she wanted to see the outside world. It's not just that. They're always smiling, but it's only their mouth that's in a smile, while their eyes remain expressionless. Whenever you talk with them, they end up looking at you straight in the eye too much. There are a lot of people in and around town who haven't accepted Rune. When I asked them why, they told me they couldn't on a biological level. I think it's an instinctive repulsive to our behavior, even if a person in question is an adult or a child. When they have something that feels foreign to us, then they become a target of alienation. Blah, I'm bad at speaking. I think Rune already knows that she's causing people to be disgusted at her, and intentionally behaving that way. More than that. Rudo? I'm sure Rune is planning something. She's building up her knowledge so she can trick us. So she's got something she has planned. Something much worse than the Grunquell's incident. Wait a minute, Rudo. Aren't you jumping to conclusions here? She's been such a good girl this whole time. Not that I'm going to completely ignore what you're saying. As an adult, I have an obligation to look at everything fairly and impartially. I'm sorry. I may have said too much. It was exaggeration. I wasn't exaggerating. Even now I still remember that conversation clear as day. I paid no attention to Rudo's warning. That was the greatest mistake I made in my entire life. A few weeks after, Aline collapsed. Several days after that, 12 of the top brass of the Divide business partners die from process 1 poisoning. Rune disappears from the mansion. After a few days after that, transfer arrives at the outer pole. Rune's body is found on board. Weeks after that, Aline breathes her last while in Zevite Betica. Those events constantly play back in my mind over and over. From that point forward, Zevite began to collapse in on itself. Sid, having faced a greater calamity than this, was broken. Even though he endured all the trials and difficulties of his past, Sid's just completely broken down. He wouldn't even listen to me or Rudo. His work at the company went practically untouched. Instead, he holed himself up in Lab 9 and barred anyone else entry. It was one of these days. It's just the Sixth project was approaching completion. In the end, the church refused to make use of the sisters. The frames that were built were repurposed to work in mana mines instead. During the meeting to discuss whether the sisters would be deployed, Sid suddenly showed up. What? You want to pay the sisters for their work? That's right, I want their servants compensated. What brought this on? Why? We're barely scraping by as it is. Why should we pay machines of all things? Huh? Because that's an order. Anyone who objects is fired. End of story. Sir Sid. Are you serious, sir? Well, you guys with that then. Give me a minute, Sid. This is an abuse of power. Just tell us why I will listen to you. Why do I have to explain every damn thing I have to say? Even if it took time to explain it, you're all just a bunch of idiots who wouldn't understand, so I don't even bother. All you need to do is follow what I say like the servant you are. What is the matter with you, Sid? All these people weren't here with you, so it might have, well, have never existed. But who's the one who holds the power? Me! I don't take any smack from people without my vision. What the hell? You just abandoned your job like that. You have any idea how deep in danger the company is right now? What did you say, boy? Oh, your damn eyes, you senile man. Your job as CEO of this company is to reassure everyone working here. Did you forget that? What the hell happened to your sense of right and wrong, your morals? You're this weak that you couldn't even stick to them now that your wife is gone? You're spouting out pretty big words for yourself. You're even half a man, Rudo. Get a grip, Dad. With how things are right now, I need damn sympathy from the likes of you frickin' kid. You can all pretend to run a company for all I care, but this is my company. I built it from the ground up, and I can raise it to the ground if I damn well please. And you better follow my orders. And anyone who gets in the way of my research... Sir? He's vomiting blood. He said, are you alright? Don't touch me. Sir Sid. Damn it. That night, I was called by Rudo. Rudo? Just who exactly is Rudo Zavitz? Come again? This morning when I looked in the mirror, I saw a man I didn't even know. That man didn't have a shred of sadness in him when his little sister passed away. In fact, I'm feeling nothing but relief. Rudo? My little sister should have never been born. Should have just hit her head against something and died when she was young. Now I'm finally free. Such were the man's sad, heartless thoughts. Now, Albus, is this the Rudo Zavitz you knew? You know, the kind of young man that would harbor these thoughts? Was he a person that had such a warped heart that he would instead rejoice his sister's death rather than mourn it? However, there's still something I owe my gratitude that thing for. That devil in disguise taught me one thing and one thing only. That people are always controlled by their emotions. This era we need are logic and rationality. The only people who have the right to talk about emotions or sympathy are those who have thoroughly pursued logic and rationality. My father was unable to do that. He's a weak man who tried to devote himself to sincerity excuse for philanthropy, but he couldn't even follow through all the way. Rudo. There are too many barriers in this world. Since Zavitz has taken over my madness, his time is over. From now on, I shall lead Zavitz. I have the power to. That day, the dam that's been holding Rudo back finally broke. His growth since then was incredible. The kind where Rudo was nowhere to be found. He had truly changed as a person, although he was just mediocrity in terms of research. His track record of management easily dwarfs Sid's. Rudo put forward an grand plan to save Zevites. In order to deal with the mass murder that Rune committed, he established a corporate system. By taking outside investors as members of the company board of directors, he succeeded in changing the company's image from a family business to a corporation. Rudo? Why wasn't I prepared a seat here? Well now, your seat certainly has been prepared, Mr. Gronkwells. Because I demanded for one, that's why. You don't tell me you've forgotten what your sister has done. Thanks to that girl, I lost my family and my life has been ruined. Your father seems to have understood the circumstances. What about you? Don't tell me you have you've taken its place and you consider the past all water under the bridge, do you? The father has gone completely insane. Some freed abuses his position. The daughter is a damn murderer. What's wrong with your family, huh? I've been working in this company for 10 years. If you don't treat me accordingly, you better watch out, you little punk. What else did you just... I see. If I don't treat you accordingly, I better watch out, is it? My, you sure have quite the head on your shoulders. What did you little kid, just trying to say again? Mr. Gronkwells, do you understand the situation you are in? Right now you are dancing on the stage front and center. Listen. To this company you are nothing but a persistent little stain on a glass window. Leaving you on or wiping you off, there is no real difference. However, the more it stands out, the more of an eyesore it becomes. Don't worry, Mr. Gronkwells. No need to flounder about like that. Having gotten remunerations for both your one-eyed son and your wife, you can truly consider yourself a success in life. You can relax and let that fat belly of yours just hang out and enjoy life to the fullest. You son of a... You know, if some talentless burden like you and thinks of trying something, I'll have you swept out like garbage that you are. Like you? What do you think you are, you son of a bitch? I don't have to take the abuse for a little shit like you. Son of a bitch. Don't you think I'm gonna take this line down? I'm gonna whistle you down to the goddamn bones. Mark my word. Damn. Okay, we're gonna pause it here because Rudo is a fucking asshole. Thank you very much for watching. This is Big Yashiroreaper, and bye! Hey guys, this was Yashiroreaper, and thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified and join the notification squad. Also, check out my Teespring and Redbubble shops, links below, with my Tumblr, Tapastic, and Amino app name. Thank you for watching. Hit the Patreon icon to help me continue making cool content for you all. Love you guys, and see you in the next video. Bye!